Hey all, and welcome back to the HFC playthrough of the Sega Saturn version of Sonic 3D Blast. Man, all these addendums. It makes for a little bit of a clunky mouthful when you're starting a part, but at least it gives you something to say. It's Have a Spring Stadium, home of the penis music, at least in the Mega Drive version.
It's home of the penis visuals in this one. I do not like how... I don't like how Spring Stadium looks in either of them, honestly. It's like, I get what they're going for. It's got the kind of carnival colour scheme going on. That's like the look that they want to pull off. But I've never really liked this kind of aesthetic. And the fact that I could easily see like Ronald McDonald sitting on a bench in the corner here makes it that little bit more uncomfortable.
Hey, he had a game made by Treasure on the Mega Drive. You show him some respect.
I won't show him some respect because he's a creepy fucking clown.
Fair enough. I would have also accepted he made generations of children obese, but that's besides the point.
I mean, like, that was going to happen anyway. If you look at, like, the way food production was going, everything had sugar in it to hide the fat, okay?
Fair enough. So, Richie, what's your experience with the game thus far? Are you vibing, or are you the opposite of vibing?
I mean, I have to say, I'm feeling ever so slightly nauseous watching this, to be fair. There's just something about the checkerboard patterns with Sonic's fast movement over everything that is just sending my eyes a little bit loopy, and this might be why my brain's remembering I didn't get very far with the game as a child, because I was just like, I don't know what's happening, I can't see what's happening, I'm confused, I'm just gonna stop right now.
Oh, I'm confused, Mama, Papa, I cannot beat the Sonic game on the personal computer.
The thing with the checkerboard that you bring up, that is something that it's not as bad to play as it looks. Like I said in the last part, the checkerboard is there for a practical purpose because they're compensating for, like, and I didn't want to go full in like ripping into stuff in the first part because I didn't want to be a downer.
Say it.
But the isometric gameplay is really fucking awkward. This game is a very experimental game, and I can't rip into it too much because, like, they were trying to do something that wasn't just a typical 2D Sonic game. They were trying to make it a bit different, and I get that, but it's an experiment that I don't think paid off, because what you find is that the isometric control is just more difficult to work with than it is like a benefit.
Yeah.
You're controlling Sonic's fast movement using diagonals on a D-pad. It becomes quite uncomfortable after a while. The fact that they did have to compensate for that with the checkerboard is very telling, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose this is where, like, isometric stuff works really well for things like strategy games.
Yes.
Fire Emblem being, a prime example. But yeah, it comes to sort of isometric platformers and you do start to get into a little bit of an interesting situation, don't you?
It can work. There are examples, like I enjoyed the Spyro games on the GBA.
Oh, yes.
Season of Flame and whatever the third one's called, more than Season of Ice, because that had some of the problems you would expect from an isometric game, such as the camera not being zoomed out enough so you can see where you're gliding to or jumping to. And actually, while we're on this subject, do any of you have any notable isometric games you played in your youth besides 3D Blast?
I can't say necessarily in my youth, but one game that I am quite fond of, that I would say still that I'm fond of despite the isometric stuff rather than because of it, but I do have a huge soft spot for Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo.
That's fair.
It's an incredibly charming RPG. It's a game that, just the art style in general, they made it work. They made a really charming looking world, and just the characterization of Mario and his friends as, like, being one of the first games to actually try to give those characters character, I think it works really well. I do quite like that game a lot.
Absolutely. We didn't even get it in the UK, or Europe for that matter, until it released on the Wii's Virtual Console, but I have since played and completed the Switch version of the game. You can find my first time playthrough of that on the HFC channel in the playlist section. Why are you both just hanging out here?
They like having fun together.
If you fail one, you can go to the other one.
Crab.
For me, I would say it is the Spyro. I think it was Season of Fire that I had. I might have had both. I don't really remember. I'd have to actually go start digging out all my old cartridges. But then the other one was, Super Mario RPG, although I played it on the Wii Virtual Console because it was one of those things of I'd heard so much love around it. I was just like, well, I feel I should experience it at some point.
Right, and we would have grown up with the Paper Mario games, and then we're like, oh, there's another Mario RPG. Interesting.
Obviously, I never touched Paper Mario 64, and I didn't quite get 1000 Year Door until the remake, actually.
Wow. Richie, do you even play video games?
I was a child. I only had so much money.
Oh, now you've made me sad.
But yeah, so really my only experience of isometric games as a kid was 3D Blast, or the very little that I played of it, and then the Spyro games on the GBA. And so, yeah, actually I had very little isometric experience as a child.
Fair enough, mate.
It's funny you say that though about not having the games, because Tom doing a lot of assuming that we've all played the Mario RPG series. It's always been kind of a blind spot for me, and I only recently got around to playing Superstar Saga for the first time, which I did enjoy a lot. But it's starting to make me realise what I missed out on when I was so hyper-fixated on Sonic and Pokemon as a child that I didn't really touch much else.
That's fair, mate. That's fair. And just looking at other isometric platform games on Google, we have, of course, 3D Blast, but then there's Rare's Snake Rattle and Roll. We have Cuba, we have Mystic Towers, Rayman Hoodlum's Revenge. I assume that's a particular version of the game. It's a Game Boy Advance game, 2005. And then, of course, we have the stellar Sonic Labyrinth.
Oh, that's wonderful, isn't it? Don't you like the slow down shoes there and how you have to be more strategic? I'm bullshitting it, shit.
I'm going to keep it 100 emoji with you, fam. No. We've also done a playthrough of that. I did it with FTA and Some Call Me Johnny years ago. It's all there, buried away. Better days.
Better days where we played Sonic Labyrinth.
When Flame wasn't here and I didn't have to listen to him.
Whereas nowadays you do, so it's all downhill from here.
And the footage just disappears from my eyes as I change the timeline. Oh man, this is one of my favourite ice levels in gaming, and especially in the Mega Drive version, but god damn did they do some things to it in Sonic Chronicles.
Oh.
See, this is the one where both the Mega Drive and Saturn songs for Diamond Dust got remixes in Chronicles. This particular one got remixed into Blue Ridge Zone, the overall theme there. The other one was, I want to say, Central City. But I will say, in terms of just the mixing of the song and the instrumentation, brace yourself, because I do think that was the one that held up okay in Chronicles, because it was a much more simplistic representation of what is also a simplistic melody, whereas what this one's doing is doing the Christmas song thing, where it's got what should be a very simple melody that's completely harmless, but it overdoes it with the whooshy sounds, the bell sounds. It's just a little bit busy. Thankfully, the actual level itself has a really pretty ice aesthetic here that kind of distracts me from it, because this is just gorgeous.
It is really nice.
It is.
And I will actually fight you on that, thinking that there's too much of the Christmas bells in this, just because I really like the Saturn Christmas bell kind of music font, because it's one of the just wonderful bits of the original Nights.
Did we cover Christmas Nights, Rich?
I don't know whether we did or not. We might have done.
We've definitely covered the base game.
Yes, I mean, I know I've covered Christmas Nights, but that was a very long time ago now. It's been, good lord, it's been a while since I retired from my solo channel, good lord.
I was a different man back then. I wasn't in Special Stage 7, as we are here. Yeah, Flame just decided to cut the chaff, not to be confused with Chaff X Grenade. God bless you wherever he is right now, somewhere in our Discord, I think. And just show you Special Stage 1 and Special Stage 7.
Yes, now this one, I'm glad this is the one that we managed to include as the final one here, because this is doing the Saturn translucency effect that I gushed about in the last part, I gushed about in Sonic. Oh, it's so fucking good, and it's... I'm not sure exactly what technology they're using for it, but it does seem to be like a Saturn-specific thing. Because if you compare, like, say, the original version of R on the Saturn that had this in the final racetrack there,
yeah,
compare that to the re-releases that didn't and had just a bland, opaque kind of track, it seems to be something that worked best for the Saturn, and it just leaves such a strong identity, such a strong visual identity, that the Saturn didn't have much going for it, but when it did, it was something special.
Oh lordy, when you were playing a game, you were playing a game. Oh cool, nice little secret platforms.
Yeah, it is mostly just the half pipe, but every now and then they do something just to flex the 3D capabilities, which doesn't go unnoticed.
Fair enough, Flame noticed them. Let the record state that Flame did notice.
It got my approval, so it's okay.
And here we go. The last Chaos Emerald.
It's literally bigger than Sonic.
It just falls and crushes him. Ah, too slow, Sonic.
It's a good job he can carry these with magic.
Yeah, if you had to hold all 7 of these under his arms, he'd be fucked.
They were very tiny in the cinematic universe.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, some of them can quite clearly change around. Like, we only need to think of the arse pocket that Knuckles had for the Master Emerald in SA2, and you kind of get some ideas on how they work.
Oh, ding, that's not supposed to happen.
I am very smart.
Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Alright, let's move on to the next part of the level.
I will say, like, from Diamond Dust and the next level that comes after it, this is where the levels feel a lot more linear than the first couple, I would definitely say, because it feels like the other ones, like, they're all got like a direction that you can follow around, but these ones, it feels more like it's just leading you on a route, which I know is probably a divisive thing. I quite like it because, you know, when you've got this isometric level design and when you've got the worries about the flickies might just fly off, and there's a lot of opportunities to lose your bearings here. So if it's just like, go here stupid, I'm actually okay with that here.
To be honest, that might have been why I remember struggling with the game so much as a kid. Of just those first few levels, it's so easy to get lost and not understand where on earth you are, that actually having that more linear structure for the level would have resolved so many more problems.
Alright, smart guy, you solve it.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun. Blah, 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 blah. There was a third soundtrack and it was just me making mouth noises.
Oh god, you're gonna have to take the footage and make an official video of that now.
That's effort, and no thank you. So I guess since we don't really have much else to talk about in this particular zone, favourite ice zones in video games. We're bringing this up every so often, but I like to catch up and see if the lists have been updated. So, Richie, what about you?
God, you keep doing this to me, and my answers keep going, I don't know. But definitely the I think it's like Cozy Cabin or whatever in Epic Yarn. I always quite like that one. Just a full on Christmas effect. Makes me happy.
Very cool, very cool. I'm going to go with the ice levels in Croc, the PS1 game, which,
yes,
funnily enough, just got announced for a remaster/remake, and Argonaut Games, the people who made the original, are back as well. So, you know, it's kind of what is old is new again.
I know, I was very excited to see that. I might finally actually be able to beat Croc.
Yeah, especially since they're updating the controls to be more modern.
Oh, thank God. Like, I have tried playing Croc before, and I've got to say, like, I know it's you had to be there kind of thing when it comes to, like, 3D games with D-pad controls. It's something that I've just never got on with. I hope that the re-release does still have the original controls for people who prefer those, but
Well, of course.
just like in general, if it's a version of the game that's less of a bitch to just make basic maneuvers with, then I probably will check it out. So yeah, I'm glad about that.
Very cool.
As for ice levels, my answer is still the same as it was last time you asked me about a week ago in the Mario LP. It's ice cap. I like the be cool, be wild, be groovy section, just speeding down the hill on the board. That's what I want from an ice level. I want it to be a spectacle with a cool, like, set piece of just ice being cool, you know? Like, I know that's very redundant, but you know.
That's fair. I mean, I will say, I also do love Cool Edge Day. That one makes me happy.
God, yes. I'm still convinced that that level's theme is Ring Rink from Ristar, or Ristar, to say it properly, so I gotta deprogram myself here. Just, like, slowed down.
No, it's Ristar. I don't care if the council has decided otherwise. The council is wrong sometimes.
No, the Japanese development staff said Ristar.
He said it in a borderline offensive Japanese accent, did he, rather than his actual voice?
Fuck off, you know what I was on about.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of that is just like the fact that with a Japanese accent it comes out like that versus like how, you know, other people...
They made the fucking game, what do you want from me?
He made the fucking game, but like sometimes language works differently among like people from different countries. That's just how it fucking works.
I mean, you're not wrong, because there are sort of names where, like, they do sound different in different languages and with different accents, and it can be a weird old mix, and then you try to tell people, no, you pronounce it this way, not that way.
Okay, Raichi.
Let's spell your name with a T in the comments a few more times, Rick.
I can't say that I'm mad about that, because it just makes me think of Richie from the Pokemon anime, and that always made me happy, so yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he did get the kind of shit League arc the first time around, but then he got the actual cool Lugia arc like later on, so he kind of redeemed himself for that.
There are so many episodes of the Pokemon anime that I have both watched and not watched, and no more did I feel out of my depth than watching that final, like, special series with Ash.
I never got around to watching that, but, like, it's one of those things where the Pokemon anime is framed in a way that even if you don't watch every episode, you can kind of fill in the blanks yourself. Like, I would say that probably about 3/4 of the fucking series now is just exists in osmosis, you know?
Yeah. So, Volcano Valley. This has a very downbeat kind of theme on the Mega Drive, but here it's sounding a lot more triumphant.
Yeah.
On one hand, I do like this piece of music. It's very unique from the other songs on the soundtrack, and it also does fit the Volcano aesthetic quite well. But on the other hand, I listen to the actual instrumentation they're using, and it does feel a bit like stock dungeon theme, like from like RPG Maker or something. It's got that sort of vibe to it that this could just be an RPG thing more than like a platformer thing.
Yeah. So, Flame, I notice you've got a shield here. Do the shields have special properties like they do in other Sonic games?
Well, this particular one is the safe shield. This one that we're getting here, I've got to recall from memory, because I think there's a red one and an orange one. One of those two has a homing attack.
I think one's a stomp, isn't it?
Yeah, one's a stomp and the other one's a homing attack. Don't recall if this is the first instance of the homing attack or not. It might be. There's probably some technicality I'm forgetting. Like, I don't know if like there's some like Japanese McDonald's toy or something that's gonna prove me wrong, because usually there's something like that that's the case. But you know, for the sake of argument, let's say it's an early example of the homing attack.
As we all know, Mon Sonic taught Classic Sonic the homing attack in the 3DS version of Sonic Generations.
Yes, but that's in the split timeline that happened from Sonic time traveling, whereas at this point in the series, that hadn't happened yet, and also this was pre the 06 erasure, so this was in the timeline where the timeline hadn't been erased yet, so it not happening hadn't happened yet.
Oh my god, my brain.
I love this timeline so much.
I know. But you are right, Flame. This is the first example of what, or could be considered a predecessor to the homing attack. At the time it was called the blast attack, and you needed to have the gold shield, as it's called.
It's the gold one, not the red one, got ya.
But yeah, this was the first time that really it existed, and then obviously come Adventure and Adventure 2, it became a proper thing. And then has been there ever since.
God bless Sonic Team and their inability to program 3D movement.
Well, I mean, like, people talk about, like, how janky it can be in Adventure and whatnot, but, like, the people who complain about that need to try and use a homing attack in an isometric space and then, like, rethink that opinion.
Why don't you try doing a homing attack in real life and see how far you get?
I did, and then I fell over and broke my ankle, fuck you.
and your brain, apparently, that explains a lot.
No, that was kind of like that from birth.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Alright, Volcano Valley done. Let's go take on the boss. This one is actually kind of tricky due to the fact that there are no fire shields, and the whole place is covered in lava pits.
Alright, so everyone watching, just remember, Tom said he had trouble with the boss that you're about to watch. He said he found it tricky.
Okay.
This is the hardest part here, waiting for it to load in. This tricky boss here, Tom, how did you struggle with it?
The lava spout made me panic, okay? Oh.
10 out of 10 there, Tom.
No respect. I get no respect, I tell you. But where I will get respect is in the finale of Sonic 3D Blast for the Sega Saturn. See you then.